You know that's against the law. And I said, oh, yeah, call a cop.
It was something with a candle. Yeah.
And I burned my hair. Yes.
It was that.
My greatest memory is working with young people. I've had some sad memories, too, because back in the 90s was really tough here in East New York. It was a lot of violence.
Because there were so many people who always said that they like want to serve for the youth, but like you never see them. When they said like, oh, this priest, he's here, and like he really loves the youth and this and that, and I'm like, oh, cool, another person. But like when I saw you walk in like one youth group night and you literally sat there the whole night, I was like, oh, he is different. Like he really does love us. And like I don't know, as the years go by, like I just see how you're so involved with us still. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Exposed.
We got our pastor here, Father Brennan.
Good to be here with you.
Amazing. So, Father Brennan, we know you're going to be leaving soon, so we wanted to do this podcast with you. Just to, reflect on your many years of being here.
Well, for this time around, it's been 6 years, but I was here for 16 years, almost 16 before, so it's 22, almost 22 years altogether. So the roots are deep.
Yeah.
Wow.
That means I got like 6 years here too, because I was here when you came.
Very good.
Yeah.
I don't even remember that far back. I'm not going to lie.
You remember, because I
Middle
taught
school,
you.
yeah. And
Yeah,
then
yeah.
Middle school, and then I graduated middle school, and then now I graduated high school, and you're still here.
And I'm getting older every day.
Yeah. That was, a long time.
Yeah. So what's your favorite memory here?
Oh, wow. Favorite memories. Well, I have so many different memories. I guess the favorite in this time around, these last years, because this was a tough number of years because of COVID. Mm-hmm. So we had the church shut down, and so one of my favorite memories was when we finally reopened church. And I remember one of the men who's an usher at the 1 o'clock mass. He came in and he was kneeling down and he had his arms raised up. He was so happy to be back in church finally. So that's a memory that's kind of engraved in my head. A beautiful memory of someone who was really tired of not being able to go to church. So, I mean, we had church on live stream, but it's not the same.
Yeah, it's definitely not the same.
Wow. Well, what would you say is like your favorite thing about St. Michael's as a whole, though?
Well, when I first came in the 1980s, 1982, there was nobody working with young people really. So we started, there was a Jornada group, it was small. And little by little, when I got here, the pastor said to me, take care of the young people, because I was a young priest at the time. And that was very fulfilling for me, and to watch the movement grow. There was no other youth ministry, which sometimes was problematic because not everybody speaks Spanish, and you had to speak Spanish to go on the Jornada retreat. Or they would do a translation for you, but that's really doesn't work so well. And so there were other students that didn't speak Spanish that I wanted to work with. So we tried to get them to go on something called Christian Awakening, which was similar to Jornada but not the same, and then have them welcomed back the same. And it worked for a few, but it kind of fizzled because they weren't part of Jornada. So the best memories I have is working with the young people back then. When I got here the second time around 6 years ago, we had a youth minister. It was a sister, and she got very sick. She had cancer. She was young, and so her superiors in the order wanted her to go to their mother house to recuperate. She had successful surgery, and so then we were on the lookout for finding a new youth minister. So we got two others that came. One was for 3 months. He was here. Gelmis, he's wonderful, but he couldn't find an apartment, so he moved to Jersey. And then another young man who's a friend of Brandon's actually, was here for a very short time, and then he decided he wanted to move on, and that's when Brandon came. So, for myself, ministry to the young people in the parish is extremely important. I don't have to do it anymore. You know, I did it when I was a young priest, but now we have Brandon to do that, and it's just, to me, it's just beautiful to see how it's unfolding with a lot of commitment and a lot of love. So that's my greatest memory, is working with young people. I've had some sad memories too, because back in the 90s was really tough here in East New York. It was a lot of violence. It was probably one of the most violent areas in the United States, in cities. Maybe Washington, D.C. was worst. East New York was like Chicago is now, with all the murders of young people. And that was very hurtful. And I still carry some of that pain inside of me. You know, young people that we knew, loved. But there was a lesson in that too, you know, I remember so many times seeing their mothers and fathers in church after they were gone, and seeing that faith. And I'm like, wow, having gone through all that horror of burying your child who was murdered, and there they are in church, faithful to Jesus Christ. So yes, it was really horrible and difficult, but there was a beauty in there about how faith is strong even in the face of difficulty and danger and problems like that. So that was a great blessing.
Thank you for sharing that. Do you have any favorite memories here with Father?
Wow. It would probably be when I was in middle school, and then it was like the first time I probably did, like, I was an altar server for the mass, and that was like 7th grade, I think it was. It was so long ago, and I was like an altar server.
I think 7th grade.
Yeah, it had to have been 7th grade, and then I remember because we had done the thing where everybody wanted to be an altar server for some reason, so they had to like alternate every like week, and it was like my turn, and I was like, oh cool, this is awesome. And
I'm trying to picture you in the altar server.
yeah, it was.
But you also got
many
out of
a year
school
ago.
to serve at funeral masses.
Yeah, and then
and stuff.
well, not that that's a very happy memory.
No.
I would get pulled out of class sometimes to do a funeral mass, and it got me out of class, so it wasn't that bad.
I feel like my favorite memory with Father is like, because there were so many people who always said that they like want to serve for the youth, but like you never see them. When they said like, oh, this priest, he's here, and like he's really loves the youth and this and that, and I'm like, oh, cool, another person. But like when I saw you walk in like one youth group night and you literally sat there the whole night, I was like, oh, he is different. Like he really does love us. And like I don't know, as the years go by, like I just see how you're so involved with us still.
Yeah. But I mean, a lot is on the shoulders of Brandon now.
Yeah. Yeah. But that was like before Brandon never came.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
I remember when I first got back here, and there was a meeting, I guess it was a Friday night, I don't really remember, of the youth in Jornada. And I had an old Jornada shirt from the 1980s. And it was like a football jersey, but it really didn't look very good. In fact, you know, like the lettering was wearing off and stuff like that. But I wanted to let them know that I was there. I'm with them. So I brought that old jersey, and they were laughing at it like, what a piece of junk, you know. But at least it built the connection that I needed at the time. That was Joshua was there, and Josue, I should say, and Evelyn and Rosa Lebron. And I don't remember who else was there. It was pretty small at the time.
Too, yeah.
Yeah, but those were good days. Returning to St. Michael's, because I was away for 20 years, and returning was really beautiful. A big surprise, too. I wasn't expecting it. But when Father Michael got sick, then they called me up. But it was amazing to come back and see, because this church is so beautiful, and to see the beauty of the church and be saying Mass there again and see people I knew from so long ago, and I still see them,
Yeah.
and new people.
So how do you feel about your new journey now that's coming soon?
Well, that's going to be exciting too. I did work in that area before, and I'll be working with migrant workers and farm workers who take care of the dairy farms. So where we're going to be is right along a lake, Cayuga Lake. It's a very long, narrow lake, part of what they call the Finger Lakes. And so on the eastern shore of the lake are all these dairy farms. So I'll be going over there to have Mass and Bible studies, all different things like that for the farm workers that are there. And then, depending on the time of the year, migrant workers actually come through, and they'll be doing things like harvesting corn and stuff like that, and apples. Apples is big upstate New York, so it's a big product for the state. So I'll be working with all those kind of workers, and in a small parish.
That's nice.
Are you going to be there like indefinitely, or do you have like a specific amount of time you're going to be there?
That's a good
and then they
question.
move you again?
I guess it's probably just certainly for the next 3 years. After that, who knows? I mean, I'm 71, so I have no intention of ever retiring. But you do slow down. I can feel it in my bones already, starting to slow down a bit. Not in my heart, but in my body. So I'll certainly be there 3 years unless the Lord has another plan for me and somebody else gets sick and they call me up and say, go over there. So that's
Who knows?
one of the
Maybe you come
interesting
back.
things.
Yeah, just come back here.
Maybe you come back. Who knows?
No, you got Father Marty coming.
Third time's a charm.
But to have that one promise that we make of obedience, and when they say go, you go. It's kind of like the army in that respect,
Yeah.
So, and it's beautiful to be able to just move and say, okay, this is where the Lord wants me now. So that does make it easy, but it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Have you met the priest that's coming here now? This
Yes.
place?
Well, I've known him very well. He's perfect for this place. He served here as a deacon in 1990 to 91, I guess it was. The year before he was ordained a priest. He said his first Mass here. So he has great memories of St. Michael's and a great love for the parish. So he'll be very good here, I'm convinced. He speaks Spanish beautifully. He's been a pastor in a number of parishes, so he's got great experience. So Father Marty is top shelf.
That's good. You'll be missed though.
Yeah, for about 5 minutes. No, you'll meet the new guy and then you'll be very happy.
Oh.
And periodically you'll think of me and say, oh, what was that guy's name again? Yeah. Good old what's his name?
Nah, you're unforgettable, Father.
So, but even the one of the beautiful things for me now these years has been watching the youth ministry grow here. So I haven't been involved in it really close, but I'm involved with Brandon all the time and fills me in on what's happening, and I see what the numbers that are coming and the different strategies that are being used to help young people come to an encounter with Christ and have a better relationship with him and understand his love and forgiveness. So it's great to see the way it's unfolding here now, and new leaders. I mean, there's a whole group of new leaders here now, young people like you guys. So it's very powerful for me.
Yeah.
And I feel good in knowing that I'm leaving here, but everything's in good hands.
All right, so what were your funniest memories, Father, from this church?
I have a couple. Well, they're funny to me. I don't know if they're funny to anybody else, but I was a heavy smoker. And I was always going over to the school to teach 6th or 7th grade, once a week, religion. And whenever Sister Peggy would call me over, somebody was acting out or something like this, and she'd call me up, and especially if it was a guy, she'd want me to talk to them. And I always smoked in the classroom. And I would just stand the cigarette on the desk and then pick it up again, and it just seemed normal at the time. Now you'd be in trouble for this, right? You know, it's absolutely unacceptable behavior, but then it didn't seem so bad. And I remember I was in the gym, and the gym teacher was there, and I had a cigarette in my mouth, and she says to me, "You know that's against the law." And I said, "Oh yeah, call a cop." And she was flabbergasted. Her jaw hit the floor. She's like, "Why? He told me just call the cops. That's terrible." So that was one funny memory that I had. And, I don't know. There's a bunch. I remember one time Sister Peggy got so angry at me. There was a young guy got in trouble. I have no remembrance of who it was or what he had done. And I come out of the little conference room with him, and then Sister Peggy says to me, and I said, "Well, he didn't mean it." And she says, "Yeah, what do you mean he didn't mean it?" She wanted me to scold him, and I was telling him, "Don't worry about it, it's over." So she didn't like being told he didn't mean it. So that's a good memory for me, too. She was kind and everything, but, she was the principal of the school. And I was more or less in the business of forgiveness. So it was a little different. I don't know. I can't think of any other funny stories, but
Yeah, that is funny. He just told the gym teacher to do something about it, essentially.
yeah, it was fresh.
Yeah.
But what are you going to do? I remember just another memory, not really funny, but a good memory, was we were going upstate on retreat, and at that time, the parish owned a bus like an Avis bus that you would see at the airport that takes you from the airport to the rental agency and stuff like that. So it could fit like 15 or 20 people. And we were going way upstate to Esopus, to a retreat house. So we had about 60 people, 60 young people and a bunch of adults. And Father John had said to me, I'm hearing a funny noise in that bus, so just be careful. All right. So we're driving up there, and all of a sudden there's this boom, boom. And I'm like, oh. And you're stepping on the gas and nothing's happening. So something serious happened. And I'm blinking the lights so the cars in front of me that were from the parish would know that there's something wrong and that I was pulling over. And a piston blew. So that was the end of it. So there was no hope of getting that group of people up to the retreat house until we finally called the retreat house and told them we're stuck on the highway. It was on Route 17. And a bunch of the brothers from Esopus, they run Marist College, came down with cars to pick us up, which was really nice. But in the meantime, the name of the retreat was Along the Way. And so one of the leaders, his name was Robert Cava, and he started, because there was a number of really much younger kids on that retreat, and he started saying to them, okay, so the name of this retreat is Along the Way, and now along the way we've had this struggle, and we have to get off this bus, and somebody's going to come pick us up. And he started turning it around so that the very title of the retreat became part of the story of what was happening. And I thought that was really creative. That's a great memory. I think about that all the time because I pass there all the time. It's where 287 meets Route 17. That's where we got stuck. So that was a great memory. And great memory of really wonderful people. I think about someone, like we just celebrated yesterday Virginia Klein's 93rd birthday. You know Virginia, right? Mm-hmm. And she's been a volunteer here for 81 continuous years. So she started when she was 12 in the choir, and she's never stopped. Wow. Now, she's fallen a couple of times and, been in rehab and broke her hip, broke her arm, but she's never stopped coming. So now instead of being here a lot, she's here once or twice a week. But to me, I look at that and I think, this is really amazing commitment. 81 years as a volunteer. It's astounding.
That's a lot. Yeah.
So there's those kind of memories come to me that of the wonderful people that are here. It's just a great parish.
A funny story that I have with you is it was like before the pandemic, before Brandon and all that. That's like when you first came. Like you came into the group and like you were just there. And I don't know where you just said, "What the hell?" And like I started freaking out because I'm like, "That's a priest." And he just said that. Like I don't know. At the time, I felt like it was like a really bad word. So like tapping on my friend. I'm like, did he just curse? Did he just curse? And like we just all there shocked because we're like, oh, we can't believe a priest just cursed right now. But like that was very funny because after that I was just like, oh, he's really not a regular priest.
Yeah, well, I don't really have any recollection of that, but I'll take your word for it.
Yeah, for me, I think a funny story was when I was in middle school and we had mass. It was like one of those weekday mass that would do, and it was just like our class. And I think you were in the back, and you had like left your microphone on, and you were telling a story, and everybody heard you because you you had your microphone on. It was something about when you were like an altar server, and I think it was something with a candle. Yeah.
And I burned my hair? Yes.
It was that. And like everybody heard it, and we were all laughing. I don't think you realized you had
I was
your
in the
mic on.
sacristy telling the story.
I think so.
Yeah. Yeah. That was I guess I was probably sixth or seventh grade at the time. And when we used to carry the candles right into the sacristy, now we put them in those candle holders next to the cross. But we used to go into the sacristy, and you always had to bow to the cross. There was a big crucifix. And I bowed, and the flame set my hair on fire. So that was the story I was telling.
Yeah.
That was terrible.
Yeah, everybody was laughing. That was funny.
Well, good if they were laughing. Better than what I said to you.
You had a scar. That traumatizes.
No. I remember, were you in, it was a Ryan Gonzalez, was he in your class?
Ryan, he wasn't in my class, but I think he was like a grade below me.
A grade below you. I remember teaching you guys, and to me it was always a lot of fun. I enjoyed teaching. And I stayed with it right up till this year. But I shifted how I do it and what we're focusing on. But I've enjoyed teaching in the Catholic school. It's been a real blessing in many ways to see because it's one thing to say hello to people. It's another thing to get in the classroom and listen to them and see what they're thinking and probing about faith. And some of them, don't have a whole lot of it, and some do. So you're trying to balance that out with what you're trying to communicate about God to them. So it's been a very positive experience for me all along working with this school here, and it's a great school. I think it's a great school. You didn't go there?
No, I worked there for a couple of months.
Okay, cool. But you graduated. Did you think it was all right? No? Okay. Did you have Sister Peggy at all?
When I was like in like first grade,
Okay.
I think because that was when it had just become like Salve Regina.
Okay.
And then because I had come from St. Sylvester when he did the merger, and then I came for first grade, and then we had what was it? It was Sister Peggy, and then Mr. Geezer.
Geezer, yeah.
Oh my gosh, I don't know how I remember that, but he was there for like maybe a year or two, maybe 3, and then that was when we got Miss Elder.
Yeah,
from
Miss
there.
Elder came in. Yeah.
But then I don't know. Bad memories, good memories from the school. Can't go wrong.
Who was your 8th grade teacher?
It was Miss Barrios.
Miss Barrios, okay.
Yeah. And Miss DePena. They were my 8th grade.
DePena.
Yeah. Now, I only know only a few people from the school now.
Yeah, it's been a lot of turnover.
Yeah.
So, and it was, who's the one teacher over there? She does art. Lauren, and she's a jornalista.
Oh, yeah. I don't think I found
Lauren
that.
Perez.
Lauren, yeah.
She was Lauren Lebron. Her mother is Rosa Lebron. And she married, I forgot his first name, Perez. And she's a teacher over there. She does art, and she taught some 8th grade this year, too. So it's nice to have homegrown people, that are from the parish. And now Iris works there. Not as she did teach this past year. She taught one class of religion each week. But she's doing other things to try to take some of the burden off of Mrs. Donato as she, as principal. There's an awful lot on her plate. So Iris takes a lot of that, and she does a lot of trying to promote the school and recruit more students to come to the school. And she's a jornalista. Now I mentioned Iris. Now that tells me about another incredible memory that I've been talking about a lot the last couple of weeks. In 1993, Pope John Paul came to Denver for World Youth Day. And they just had World Youth Day now in Portugal. And so there's been a lot of stuff on Catholic News about World Youth Day and what Pope Francis is saying and trying to inspire the young people. And there was like 1.5 million young people went to World Youth Day this year from all over the world. It's amazing. And when we were in Denver for World Youth Day, and Iris and Ireda were there, George de Jesus, you might remember George, he's on the board for the school. He was a youth minister here for a short while. His brother was the choir director. They were all of them were on the trip to World Youth Day, which we drove to Denver, which was interesting. But to see the power of almost 2 million young people gathered together in a huge park outside of Denver for this incredible mass. And we went the night before, so you had to sleep outside and waiting for the Pope the next morning for this mass. And Denver, it's an interesting place because Denver is very high. It's 1 mile high. So breathing isn't so easy. Well, for someone like me, breathing is a struggle because the air is thin. And then when the sun came out, it was getting very hot. People were fainting. And the fire department came, and they were spraying the hoses on the crowd because the heat was so much, and it felt great. But the power of the moment was having the Pope talk to young people about living their faith. And I remember even some of the words he used. Young people of Denver, Jesus Christ is here for you today and tomorrow. I remember him saying, do not be afraid to evangelize, to talk to others about your relationship with Jesus Christ. And he said, shout it from the rooftops. It was a powerful message. And the young people all across the world, all during the reign of Pope John Paul, loved him. Everywhere he went, young people went. He was really loved amazingly. So that was a great experience, going across the country. We had rented vans, and we went in those vans across country. We had somebody donated for us free, I guess you'd call it gift cards now, but they didn't have those then, but gift certificates to Subways so that we could have something extra to eat. Well, we ate so many Subways, I thought I would never eat another Subway again. I was so sick of Subways, but it was free food, so it worked well. But that was another great memory. And I just saw a picture. Because I'm packing, so I'm going through old stuff, and I just saw a picture of the whole group outside the front of the church the day we were leaving to go to Denver. It was really beautiful. Great memory. Great young people that were there. And all of them are doing something really powerful right now, except for one. One I haven't heard from, so I don't know what he's doing. I don't know where he is. But all the others are involved in faith in some way, shape, or form, or as teachers or cops, and it's really been mind-blowing to see the depth of the faith that young people have and share. A lot of people think, they need to be taught and told, and they're doing fine. You give them a little food, and they'll eat it and enjoy it and run with it. It's just been a very powerful experience. I feel very blessed for the people that I have engaged with all along, especially when you were here, I came in 82, 83, 84, 85. That was before you guys were born. And to see them now with their kids, helping their kids learn the faith, it's really nice.
That's amazing.
Makes me feel old sometimes, though. Guess why?
Why?
Because I'm old.
Oh.
Yeah, but before we go, I think we all just want to say thank you for everything, Father, for all you've done here at this church. Just everything you've done. It really can't be appreciated enough, you know. I mean that. I know everyone else here means that. You know, I feel like I'm speaking for everyone when we say thank you for everything.
Yeah. Just thank you for being present and for being someone that puts the youth first. I feel like we were always being put last, but you always put us first.
Well, if the young people don't catch the faith, where are we going to be in 20 years? So to me, it's a priority and a great blessing. You say thank you, and I say thank you to God for the blessing of getting to know the young people here and watching their faith grow and expand. It's been a very powerful experience for me. So I thank you.
Well, thank you for being an inspiration to keep going.
Thank you.
All right, y'all. Thanks for watching the Exposed podcast with our special guest here, Father Brendan. And we'll see y'all next time. Peace.